everybody. Welcome to episode 2. Sorry I'm a bit late, but it's been so hot and I had so many notes to, look at before I came on. Let me just tag a few people. Okay, let's invite a few people who are on here. How you guys doing? How's the week started? Hope it's been good. In Malaysia, we are starting a new MCO. I think we've gone back to MCO for the next 2 weeks again. The numbers are down, but still I think the government insists that they want to carry on with this for a while. Well, there's a lot of controversial comments about whether they should be doing this, but then you know what, this is the new normal, so let's just do the best we can and hope for all the best, and it will come. I'm very sure it will come. Okay, let's see. Hi Kamla, hi Suri. Yes, I know now your name is Sumaya Kayat is your official name. Welcome everybody. Hi Kamla, hi Varsha. How you doing? How's things in the Philippines? I actually have not been able to speak to Padu and the rest of the family just to check, but I shall try and do that. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so today we are going to talk about something that's really interesting. How to fall madly in love with yourself, okay? Not just falling in love with yourself, but falling in love madly with yourself. Now, I had a few comments about this. Suri, I'm so glad you're here. I really wanted you to watch, because this is something that all of us can make use of. Hi Darpan, nice of you to be here. Darpan is from India, in somewhere in Delhi, in Gurgaon, which is outside of Delhi. And it's so good to have all of you back on here. Okay, so we were talking about how to fall madly in love with yourself. Now, all of you, I'm sure at some point or another have fallen in love with someone else. I mean, that is common, right? And you know how you feel when you're in love with someone else. You feel so good, your energy is so high. You just feel on top of the world, literally. So how can we actually do that for ourselves? I mean, is it possible to fall in love with ourselves such that we have that same energy, that same exuberance, that same beautiful feelings for ourselves? Well, I can assure you that we can. It takes a lot of work. I'm not going to mince my words about that. It's a lot of practice, but when you do it, it's so worth it, because every time you become that beautiful person who exudes all that energy, you attract it back to yourself. And this has this really beautiful multiplier effect. And that's when your life will change, because you are doing something positive. And not just that, but it is actively being done by you, all right, to create that in your life. And nothing can be more beautiful than that, because that's how you live a good life. That's how you live a happy life. That's how you live a purposeful life. Okay, so let's look at them, all of these things slowly, one by one, and see which are the ones that you can actually practice and bring into your existence. Okay, this is something that you'll have to decide for yourself. How are you going to do it for yourself? I'm going to give you quite a lot of things. Although I started with only 7, I actually have come up with a lot more now when I was doing my research. So I'm going to give all of that to you, and then you pick the most salient things that you want to use to bring it into your life, okay? And then practice it. The important part is that it has to be practiced. You must be committed to it. Okay, all right, so let's look at the first one. Now remember, I'm neither an expert or a master at self-love, okay? All I feel I am is I'm a teacher and a lifelong student myself, okay? Because you know me, I love learning new things, and I love trying to practice new things on myself. So normally, the things that we practice on ourselves, the things that we teach others, is what we are needing to learn the most ourselves as well. I really believe that. And you know my story. I started this journey almost 5 years ago, all right? And it has taken me a long time from concept to practice. But now that I am practicing, I'm practicing consistently every day, and I can see the effects. I can see what it has done for me, and that's why I am so keen to, you know, to spread it to everyone here and to do it so that you can see the effects on yourself and your life as well. Okay, Karen, hi, how are you? BP Lim, hi. Wow, it's been a long time since I've met you. I think that the last time we met was in Singapore, right? At least 5 or 6 years ago as well. Anyway, welcome to my life. Always happy to have new people, and always happy to be able to speak to new people all the time. Okay, so let's look at what we want to say. Right, so I said, yes, it takes a long time to move from concept to practice. But now it's no longer a concept. It is knowing beyond that I can do this and that I can express it in words. Now, there's a conviction. I have that conviction that anyone today who is alive can learn to do this for themselves. They can learn to love themselves. It is not something that is only restricted to a few people. It is everybody can do it, provided they accept the fact that it requires commitment and it requires practice. Lots and lots of practice. Hi, Dave. Dave is known by his name Sandakan Eagle. Welcome again back. Jaspal, hello. Nice to see you here. Okay, so the two things that we do need in order to be able to practice self-love or falling madly in love with yourself. I think self-love makes it sound so basic. When you say the words falling madly in love with yourself, that's when you feel that, yeah, I must do this. That's a beautiful feeling. That's the intense feeling that you want to have. Dave says, I love myself by playing the harmonica. Yes, I heard him play the harmonica. It was beautiful. Even to someone like myself who's just listening, it was lovely. And I think that this is one of the things that will help you to love yourself. When you're doing things that you are passionate about, when you're doing things that make you feel good. Just like Dave feels that when he plays the harmonica, I feel that when I'm in the kitchen, when I'm cooking, right? I feel that when I'm dancing. These are all the things that make you feel beautiful, they make you feel loved, and they make you feel in love with life yourself. Okay, so that's why you must incorporate more of these things into your life. Okay, now on a wider level, I'm going to talk about a few things that I thought about first of all, and then I had a look at other resources and I saw Tony Robbins, what he said and all that. Okay, so but I want to talk about the things that I love and that make me want to fall in love with myself first. Okay. The most important thing I want to tell you is that when you love yourself and when you start practicing love for yourself, what happens? Then you can actually love others. You know, you can't love others unless you love yourself. That is a prerequisite to being able to spread that love. So if your purpose is bigger, if your purpose is to be able to feel that, to be able to spread that to others in the world, maybe that's what you want to do ultimately, then you have to first start with it in yourself. Okay, that is so crucial to understand and to accept and to start to do. Okay, so let's look at that. So the first thing I want to talk about is, how do you stop resisting it? Do you know that in your everyday life, a lot of you probably are resisting love to yourself? Why do I say that, right? Think of yourself from young, okay? As children, we find it so natural to give and take love, right? You would be hugging your parents very effortlessly, right? But what happens as soon as you become a bit older? Once you get into the school going age, once you get into your 12, 13, 14 adolescent years, you start to become a little bit more self-conscious. And of course, you are affected by what society is telling you, by what your peer group pressure, your peer group is telling you. So all these things will affect you and the way that you start looking at life. And invariably, what happens to a lot of us is that we start putting protective shields where we don't want to be we don't want it to be penetrated, right? We're scared about the fact that, oh, okay, I have this shield, you know, I don't want to be looked at in a certain way. I don't want to say things which as a boy, I'm not supposed to say. I'm not supposed to tell my mom I love her. See, all that comes about at a much, much later age, all right? So we start having this shield of protection, and we begin to believe other people's opinions of what we are and what we should do and how we should behave, right? So when we start doing that, we clean forget how deeply we started off loving ourselves, how innocent we were when we were young, and we felt that love so innocently, you know, without really needing to say it, right, or anything, but we felt it. So it's something that happens because of the way that our society is, because of our influences as we get older. Okay, so this is what we now understand, right? Now that you understand this, what must you do? It's time for you to stop that. And that I'm going to say very, very strictly, that we have to stop that. All right, we have to reclaim this right to love and not to think that we need to protect ourselves against it and to have that shield in front of ourselves. So it's when we can resist, that we stop resisting that love that we feel for ourselves, and to show it to the world, to be not afraid to show it to the world that we do love ourselves, right? So that is number one. Stop resisting. The resistance is the one that is creating the problem. Number two, trust in a higher power. Now, for me, this is very important. And I have told you many, many times that when I started trusting and knowing that the universe has my back, things really did change for me. And I know it can for you as well. But you must be genuine in that trust, right? It is very, very myopic to think that it is only our physical world is what's existing, right? Today, that is not true at all. We live in an age where we know that we are just what? Physical beings in a spiritual world, right? So there is a soul that is existing and that continues to exist even after we die. Well, okay, maybe it's a contentious point, Not everybody may believe in all these kind of things, but generally it is today accepted. Okay, whatever you choose to call it, God, higher self, soul, light, the name is irrelevant. But it is important that you be aware that you are more than just your body. All right? You're not just a body. You may be a soul in a human body. Okay, that's what I believe in. All right? So when you trust in a power that is beyond the physical, you start feeling safe. You start feeling safe to express yourself, safe to put down that shield. All right? If you don't trust in that, you will still feel that you need to always put on that shield of protection. But it's when you feel safe that you feel that you can be yourself, that nothing is going to happen to you, that you're in a world where God loves you and He is going to look after you. All right? Or that where the universe loves you and is going to look after you. Okay, so Dave says, Sandakan Eagle says, omnipresence, omnipotent, omniscience. Yes, exactly. That is the big words for it, okay? But in other words, just be yourself and be safe about being okay with yourself, all right? That means feel safe. There are a lot of people, especially at a young age, where they have a lot of negative ways of thinking, right? They're in a negative cycle. They don't feel safe about the world that they live in. They don't feel safe. They always think, oh, this is a bad world, and that, people are out to get you and all that. So when you have that kind of bigger notion of how things exist, then it will show in your life. Okay, so we really need to change that. That is a mindset change. That is something that you need to be able to see in yourself. Okay, I know that in the beginning, I used to have those kind of thoughts as well. I never trusted people. I never trusted the world. And that was because it was part of the whole concept that was fed to me from a very, very young age. Okay, and I really am so glad that I was able to change that as life went along. Because when you do change it, what happens is that you will see the change in the world, right? Wayne Dyer says that all the time, right? You have to change from the inside first, and then you will see that on the outside. So don't underestimate that. It really does work. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is allowing yourself to feel, all right? Because of all the things that we have, a shield, we have the protection shield and everything, we stop feeling. After a while, we just don't allow ourselves to feel. And also because of the way that society has given us what to say, what to think, what to feel, right? For example, a good example of this would be boys are told from a very young age, right? Boys don't cry. So because of that, many of them feel shy about being able to say what they feel. Or even if they have these feelings of wanting to cry because of something that's happened to them, they are not able to express it because society tells them this is not what boys do, right? So, that kind of pressure is just so unnecessary, so unnecessary. You must allow yourself to feel. So if you're a man watching this and you can totally relate to what I'm talking about, now's the time to let go of those kind of notions, of that kind of mindset, and to be able to actually be truthful and hold your own and be able to feel whatever it is that you want to feel. So when you feel through your emotions, this is what I call EQ, right? We have IQ and EQ, and this is EQ, emotional intelligence. When you feel through your emotions, you are feeling from your heart. You open your heart. And it may not be comfortable at first because most of us have not been used to that kind of a background. Most of us have not done this before. But I assure you that if you persist and if you carry on with it, it will actually open your heart and you will be a better person doing all this. Okay, let's say hello to some of the people who are here. Lisa Chio. Hi Lisa, I met your sister yesterday and I sent my regards to you. Hope you're well. Hope the children are all okay as well. Henry Ho. Hi Henry. And Bakar Noor. Hi, how are you? Rani San as well. Hello, hello, hello. Nice to see you here. Okay, all right. So let's get on. Now I said, so allowing yourself to feel is an uncomfortable process at first, but if you persist and you carry on with it, it just becomes a part of you. And you feel so much better for it because you feel that you are you, right? You can be yourself. You don't have to pretend to be something that you aren't. So for me, EQ is the single most valuable skill you can learn. And it is a skill, okay? So it's something that can be learned. It doesn't mean that it has to be within you. It can be learned. So make that effort to learn it. Number 4 is forgive. It's really, really important that we learn forgiveness. Not just forgiving other people, but forgiving ourselves as well. I think that a lot of the time we don't forgive ourselves and we live with these feelings of failure and you know, feeling that we are not enough and all these kind of things. So forgiveness in everything is really, really important. And remember what, I'm sure you've heard this saying when they say that when you forgive, it is for yourself. It is not for the other person. When you forgive something that someone has done, you're doing it for yourself. You are not doing it for another person. Bina Seika is here. Hi dear, how are you? Long time no see. Sandakan Eagle says, I want to share a picture with you. When I sat with 2 kids, I felt so much divine love. The camera captured electromagnetic light. You know what, Dave, I cannot see what you're saying simply because I cannot press on it once it's on the tripod. So that see more part, I cannot see more. Anyway, I will talk about that with you after the live, yeah? Yes, and Jagjit says, forgive and release your anger. Kamla is saying, yes, I totally agree with you. That forgiveness is a very, very important trait, which a lot of people, when they are so consumed with themselves or with the fact that someone did some wrong to them, they are not able to go past that. Okay, and that is something that we really must learn to do. Kamla says, the other kind of notion is if moms have a good time, there is always a sense of guilt. We always put our children and families first. Yes, absolutely. So you're aware of it now, right? That there is this guilt, that we always feel that, oh, you know, we had a good time, we should have been with our kids. No, there's a time for everything. So once you're aware of it, for all of you listening, okay, moms, older mothers, younger mothers, remember that there is a time for everything, and this self-care and self-love that you feel for yourself is important. It's really, really important. Yes, we are telling you that give time to your children, but don't deprive yourself of that time as well. So the time when somebody else is looking after the children, make the most of that time when you have it, and don't feel guilty about it. You are not supposed to feel guilty about these things, because when you do, you're showing yourself that you don't feel that you deserve that. Well, you do. Now you know it. Keep changing the thought when it comes up. When the thought comes up, you must keep telling yourself, nope, that's not the right thought to have, because I deserve this. I am good enough for this. Okay, so those are the kind of ways that you will start, those kind of thoughts will become more rampant in your inner thoughts, in your life. And after a while, that is what will be your experience, because then you start loving yourself, because you feel that, you know, I deserve this and I'm getting this. Okay, so just keep watching what your inner voice is telling you. Watch it, and if it is saying things which you now know are wrong, change it. Change it. This is how you actually become aware. This is why mindfulness is so important. Deep is here too. Hi Deep, nice to see you here. Jagjit, yes, it's important for us to have fun, because that makes us better mums. Yes, absolutely. If you have fun, then you feel, when you go back to looking after your little ones, you feel appreciative of them. You want to also stroke them, hug them, you know, be nice to them, because you also have been given your time, right? So it works well for everyone. Okay, thoughts are things. That is Dave who said that. Yes, thoughts are things. Yes, well, that's another way of looking at it, right? If they are things, then they also have feelings. That's also energy. It's energy, and it's really intense energy. Jagjit says, the happier you are when you enjoy yourselves, the less stressed you are. Yeah, it definitely. All right, so please, when you are out enjoying yourself, remember what I said about joy being one of those higher emotions that you can have. Enjoy yourselves, right? Don't feel that you are depriving, that you should be with your children. No, they have their time, you have your time. So feel good about it yourself, having a good time. Okay. Hi Gulnaz, nice to see you here. Nice of you to come and make time. Hi Hamida, great to have you all here. Okay, now we were until forgiveness. Yes, we said that forgiving yourself. And the next thing is be your own best friend. Pay attention to that voice in your head and listen to it. Now remember, when you listen to the voice, listen and see, because you are now I'm saying be your own best friend means you be kind to yourself. You do not tell yourself, oh, what a stupid thing to do. This is not the way that you should be behaving. All right? That's not what a best friend would do for you. Your best friend would be kind to you and would be compassionate to you, would be sympathetic with you, and would show you that she feels love for you. So when you are showing that to yourself, you can always use the example of what would a best friend say to me in this instance. So once you are able to envisage or to visualize what it is that that person would say, please do it for yourself. Okay, don't be unkind to yourself. That's not the way we should treat ourselves. I think most of the time, after my marriage and during my marriage, I was really unkind to myself. And that cannot be good for you or for your health at all. Okay, so sometimes when I think back to the reasons why I got cancer, these are all the things that come up to me, because I know how I used to treat myself and how I never felt good enough, never felt that I was loved at all. Okay, so be careful and watch out for all that your inner voice stands for. Okay, so if it is someone that you see inside that you don't like, right? If you don't like what the voice is telling you, then you must say goodbye to it. You must have this sequence where you actually, are conscious of what this voice is saying to you, and to go past that and to actually put it to sleep. and start something anew. So that is like a ritual that you have to do for yourself. It's really important. So say goodbye to that voice, let it go, and replace it with a voice that sounds like your best friend. Someone who loves you and who wants the best for you at all times. So please, 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 these are exercises which can really help you if you take them seriously and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to be starting something new where I'm going to start loving myself. So what are the things that I can do? So these are the practices that you also must start doing it. And you, as we know, you are your own best friend, means that you have to start spending a lot of time with yourself. Me time, lone time, right? Only you and yourself. And then only all these realizations, all these thoughts will come, okay? And journaling, of course, helps a lot. And I think that that is something that I've recommended to all of you many, many times as well. Okay, next thing, number 6 is give gratitude. Now, gratitude has always been a big thing, right? This is the rich soil where you plant all your desires. So start each day giving gratitude for the 24 hours that have passed. All right, everything that you've experienced in the last 24 hours, look for things to feel grateful for and express it. The important thing is that you must express it. Now, don't delay gratitude. There are a lot of people I know who will tell me, yeah, I'm grateful, but I will practice it in another time, Don't do that, because you need to be able to say that, to feel that gratitude as and when it comes. And gratitude and self-love go very, very well together. So these two things must actually be practiced at the same time, because when you practice it at the same time, you will see how much it changes the way that you look at things and the way that you live your life. A daily practice of gratitude will accelerate greatly you falling deeply in love with yourself, because that's when you realize that you have so much to be grateful for, and that you feel love for everything that has happened to you, that you are going through, that life begets of you or gives to you. You don't feel resentful. So all these feelings will come up, and the multiplier effect is that you start feeling more love for yourself. So Dave says, the inner voice, sound current has always been within us. We have been too busy searching for useful activities outside. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always said that spending time with yourself is such a worthwhile practice, and we really need to love our own company. It is not good if you always feel the need for outside validation. You need to be validated from everything that you have inside of you. That's the right validation. When you can really feel that about yourself, that you're okay with just being with yourself alone, then you know that you've come a long way, that you've gone from concept to practice, like I said. Okay, right. Now the last one, number 7, and this is for me, is what I'm going to say to you is practice, practice, practice. You need a lot of practice to really get to be a person who is madly in love with yourself, okay? Now, I'm not going to say I'm an expert at this. I am not. I am still very much a work in progress. And I think I will be for the rest of my life, okay? Because that's the way that I see myself as a student who is constantly learning new things. Now, but there is one thing that has helped me, and I can't say that it was something that I felt very comfortable doing in the beginning, but I think as we go along, I'm becoming more and less resistant to it, and more willing to do it, because there were times when I saw how much it helped me. And this is Louise Hay's practice of looking at the mirror and actually telling yourself how much you love yourself. Okay, this is actually a practice which not so easy to do, not so easy to start. You're going to have a lot of resistance to it, but I want you to start, because I tell you, at some stage when you actually do this, you will feel so much satisfaction, and you will thank yourself for having started this practice. So basically, what you do is that you spend time looking at your own eyes. There are a lot of people who, when they look at their own eyes in the mirror, they can't look at themselves, right? They want to look away, or they don't want to look at themselves. So this is what you're going to practice. You're going to look in the mirror, and you're going to look at yourself, and you're going to say, I love you. Remember, I told you that this whole series is called Gita, I Love You. And this was a practice that I started doing in the beginning, and it took me a long time to be able to get comfortable with it. But once I did, right, it doesn't mean that it happens all the time, but still I have felt that feeling of really feeling love for myself. It doesn't come all the time, and so that's why you need to practice. You have to keep doing it, and you have to keep, being willing yourself to become more and more comfortable with it. Okay, so let me just show you what you do, right? I'm going to give you a few. So normally what you're doing is that you're staring at your eyes in the mirror, and you repeat some loving affirmations to yourself. All right, so I'm going to give you a few of the affirmations that I do, so that to get you started. But after that, you can say whichever of the affirmations that you feel good. Now, don't worry about the affirmations. Tomorrow in my Facebook post, I will also post them to remind you of what these were. But I'm just going to say it to you now so that you can hear it and see it. All right? So remember, I said there will be a lot of resistance, but you've got to persist, and you've got to make this an everyday practice that you're going to do for the rest of your life. And you're going to make it more important on the days when you are feeling down, when you're feeling bad about yourself. You go into the mirror and you say all these things. Okay, so these are the affirmations that you're going to do. Every day, in every way, I love and accept myself more and more. Every day, in every way, I love and approve of myself more and more. Every day, in every way, I value myself more and more. Remember, you are going to be looking at the mirror and saying this. Open your eyes and say it to yourself honestly, okay? The technique is given to you because it needs you to be honest with yourself and not to be afraid to look at yourself. No fear. Okay, say it to yourself, and even if in the beginning you don't feel anything and you feel uncomfortable, it's fine. Fake it until you make it, because when you do make it, you're going to be saying it to yourself and you're going to be feeling so good. You're going to be feeling wonderful, and that feeling already is going to attract all the other good feelings to come to you. This is how the law of attraction works. So we are just trying to put this into practice completely in our lives. And sometimes it takes for you to do things which you don't actually believe in, that they're not actually comfortable with in the beginning. But it gets better, and I assure you of that. It really does get better. So then the next one that you say is, every day, in every way, I get better and better. I am loved, I am lovable. I am in the process of falling madly, deeply in love with myself. So you create that intention as well. You create it so that then, as you know that anything that you keep saying and keep doing, it becomes a habit, and then it becomes a part of you. That's the whole sequence, right? Kamla says, my daughter's observation many years ago when I go hiking by myself, she said that, Mom, you love your own company. I can't see that, Seymour. Well, I think that it's a great practice. When you do love your own company, it means that you can be with yourself. You do not need outside provocation. You do not need any sort of outside stuff to make you feel good. And it is such a good thing. So for those of you who are much younger, I think that it comes quite naturally. Well, maybe it comes naturally when you are older, that you feel good about yourself. You feel that you can be with yourself, especially if you're one of those who meditates, go and likes to do things which are more soulful and all that. But if you're one of those who's always been with people and you always need to have distractions, shopping and all these kind of things, then maybe it's not. I don't know. But I am talking about those of us who are already very awake about things like this, and really enjoy and want to get deeper into ourselves. We want to learn more about ourselves. We want to understand what makes us tick, right? Hi Melanie, how are you? Hope you're well. Haven't seen you for a long time too. Jess, hi. She says, sorry I'm late. That's okay, no problem. For all of you who are here and you come late, you can always access the video on my profile page, or eventually it will come into my YouTube as well. I'm still a bit slow as getting it there. Okay? Alright, so any questions about the practice? Any questions about Louise Hay's looking into your eyes practice? Okay, that is ultimately what you need to do every day to, and I can say this very, very confidently, if you really want to learn to love yourself madly. Now, the other day, who was it? I think Jess was having a conversation where there was a lady in the chat. I think her name was Teresa, if I'm not mistaken, or Louisa, one of them. And she said, oh, it's easy to fall in love with yourself, but it's not so easy to fall madly in love with yourself. Well, my answer to that is that try and do this every day. If you do this every day, I guarantee you, you will fall madly in love with yourself, because you are going to be incorporating this practice every single day in your being. It becomes so much a part of you that you start loving yourself. And when I say those words, madly in love with yourself, I don't mean any sort of narcissistic thinking, all right? You're not a narcissist, but you'll just feel so grateful about everything that your life is giving to you, and that you're seeing, that you just feel those feelings of love. You'll know it's all in your heart. You will know it, and you will feel good. The energy will be very, very high, and that's what you'll attract back to you. That's the most important thing. Okay? Okay. Hi Florence, nice to see you here. Vimla, hello. It's okay, don't apologize for being late. Everybody's got their own things to do as well. I totally understand. Okay, but if it's something that you feel is important to you, please go back to the video. It's all going to be here forever. Okay, now next thing, I also want to talk about some of the other ways that I found out this morning when I was reading through some of the resources on ways to fall madly in love with yourself. Now, I particularly liked what Tony Robbins said. Now, everybody knows who Tony Robbins is, right? Of course, he's this he's so popular, famous. You know, there's tons and tons of students who go to him. Even I did his fire walking course in Singapore many years ago. Okay, so what Tony Robbins says is the quality of your relationship determines the quality of your life, and those relationships include the relationship with yourself, your relationship with yourself. So learning how to fall in love with yourself is really essential to your eventual happiness and to your success in relationships with people around you as well, and with the way that you interact with the world. And this is because of the law of attraction, right? Because what you put out into the world, you will get it back tenfold. So when you fall in love with yourself, you will naturally spread that love to everybody around you. That's the beauty of it. You know, you end up spreading it to everybody. So when you love yourself, you will receive more love in return. So it is this fantastic multiplier effect that happens, all right? There's love in every single connection that you have, all right? You create more love in the world also loves you more, and everybody's happy, right? So that's the beauty about this whole concept. So when you exude confidence and joy, you attract others as well with that same zest for living. See, that's what we call inspiration. When you inspire another person, it is you being able to affect that person in a way that he also or she feels that zest for life. And that is what we want. That is what is a purpose that is bigger than ourselves. That is what I feel. Whenever I am with all of you and I'm doing these talks, this is how I feel. I feel so great. I feel so, it's a feeling that it is a cause that is larger than myself, a lot larger than myself. And that is when you find your purpose. See, when you start finding your purpose, that's when your love for yourself will become immense. You start loving yourself because you feel that it is something bigger than yourself. So all this comes together. It all comes together. All right. Okay. So Tony Robbins also talks about being kind to yourself. How you can love yourself madly. One of the ways is to be kind to yourself. Now that's just very simple, right? You say, oh, be kind to yourself, but not easy to practice. Because we are our worst enemies. I talked about this just now already, right? We are not kind to ourselves. We think that when we are not kind to ourselves, we push ourselves more. But in fact, the science has shown that having compassion for yourself is actually, you don't turn the learning processes in your brain off. They remain on. But when you are unkind to yourself, you actually turn those processes off. So from a science point of view, this has been proven, all right, that you need to always be compassionate and kind to yourself. Okay. Yes, change your self-talk. He talks about, because he says that the cycle of negativity, if you are already living in that cycle of negativity where all the time you are negative, like what I told you I was in those years, many years ago, right? Then you have to really catch yourself, okay, and change that. Because it's okay to feel negative emotions occasionally, right? Because that happens all the time. But if the whole way that you think is always negative, then that actually can lead to, that's what you're going to attract back to yourself, right? So then your life also becomes negative, and it'll just be a never-ending strain going downwards, okay? And that's not good. You must always have that positive streak down there where you always think that life is loving you and you are loving life. So you are the only person who will know whether that is the way you think or that is not the way you think. But once you uncover that, it can be changed. That's the beautiful part about it. And you must take steps to change it if you are in a negative cycle. All right? The other one that he talks about, which is not so obvious, is the physical state is also the key to your emotional state. For example, how you hold yourself, all right? And whether you push your shoulders up, right? You will see that there are a lot of articles about this, right? How your physical stance also is indicative of how you feel about things. For example, if you're very hunched, and this was a revelation for me as well, because my posture is not good. I'm very hunched. And when I started reading all these things, I made it a point to stretch myself a lot and to really try and bring my shoulders up. And I started doing yoga. My attempt to do yoga was actually to really improve my posture. And today I feel much, much better about that. I do not feel depressed and things like that about my body, Okay, let's see. What else? So Tony Robbins talks about meditating, but his meditation is more, he was talking more about incantations, visualization, and all that, which is really important for you to fall in love madly with yourself. All right? And then creating healthy relationships, that one is very clear, right? We should always let go of toxic relationships. If we are infused with toxic relationship, it's not going to help our feelings of love for ourselves. So all this, I think, is we have talked about a lot already, so I don't want to delve too much into it. The other thing is also to adopt an abundance mindset. When you practice gratitude and adopt an abundance mindset in everything you do, it will definitely bubble over into falling in love with yourself. Because what happens is that you feel good in every situation. Even if it's not such a good situation, in a bad situation, look for the good in it. Look for what is good about it. There will always be, even in every bad situation, there is some good in it. And you must be able to pick it up and pick it out and have faith that you're going through this because of something that's going on. So look for the good in everything that you are going through. Think about, for example, in the case of love, right? Think about the love that you already have. Who's showing you love? Think, even if you don't have, let's say, you don't have a lover in your life, right? No relationship. But think about all the other love that you already have. In my case, I have my children. I have my dog, right? So you have to be able to find the good in everything that is going on in your life so that you actually come back to that stance. The other thing, of course, to fall madly in love with yourself is to know how to relax, right? Take time to relax, to recharge. And this is what Kamla was saying, that sometimes when we have fun with our girlfriends or with people around us, we still need to feel guilty about it. No. So this is actually addressing that. Take time to relax, to recharge, to reconnect with your friends and with your own inner being, and don't ever feel guilty about it, okay? Because you deserve it. You are meant to have a good life. You're meant to feel that way, feel good about yourself. You don't have to always feel that you are there just for your children. And Jazz says, true on toxic people, best to slowly withdraw back and distance yourselves from them. Otherwise, they drain your energy. Yes, these are what we call energy vampires, right? They take away your energy. So, yes, distance yourself from them. The other thing, when you take time to relax, right, and give your brain a break from all these things, you'll notice that after that, when you actually go back to your work, you become more creative. You become more productive because you have taken that break away. The other thing, of course, is practice of self-care. Now, self-love is also related to self-care. When you care for yourself, you care for your body. When you care for your body, you care for what you put into your body, right? And your nutritional habits, all these come into play. And I really believe that for people who abuse their bodies, they don't care about themselves. They don't care about their bodies. So they are in some sort of a negative cycle as well. That normally there's some sort of addiction, or there is some other thing that is affecting them, and they need to clear that out first. When you are not eating properly, when you are not giving yourself the things that your body wants, your body will tell you. Your body is always talking to you. All right, communicate with your body. Be in a state where you can talk to your body and ask your body what it wants. Believe you me, okay, when you start doing things like this, you will actually get answers. And you'll be surprised, but there is a lot more communication between you and your body than you think there is. So the best way to fall in love with yourself is actually to create a life that you love. If you are loving the life that you have and surrounding yourself with people who love you, that will make loving yourself easy. Okay, these are some of the things that are obvious, but we want to say them as well, right? Create joyful habits, have fun. All this is good for you. Appreciate your own skills and teach it to others. Yes, if you have a skill that you feel is, makes you happy, teach it to others. For example, Mrs. J, who is online also, teaches line dancing, right? I'm sure it's something that really you felt, that it really helped you a lot and that you enjoy it. It's fun, right? So then you teach it to others. For me, it's my cooking. I love it. I love cooking. I love being in the kitchen. I find it very therapeutic. In fact, the other day, I was part of a meditation challenge, and we were doing mindfulness meditation for 14 days. And the one thing that I observed about myself was that when I had so many distractions, so it was difficult for me to actually concentrate fully on mindfulness. But I realized that when I was in the kitchen and when I was cooking, I didn't even look at my phone. I heard the ping, but I didn't feel the need to go and pick it up or to see who was messaging me, because I was so fully absorbed with what I was doing. And I was on those days, I remember I was cooking my bouillabaisse, which is my favorite dish, and I gave my everything to it. So when you are fully absorbed with something and when you're passionate about something, you can give your full 100% to it. And that is when you know you're passionate about it. So these are the kind of things. That's why I love cooking and I love teaching, right? Because I find that it makes me feel so good. I find that it really, I don't know, what's the word? It permeates me and makes me feel that I am serving my life's purpose. Okay, when I'm teaching, when I'm coaching, when I'm teaching cooking, all these are the things that make me feel very, very good. So you have to find what makes you feel good. You got to find what it is that is your life's purpose, because when you do that, you will definitely fall in love with yourself. okay? Because suddenly you feel that it's something that's bigger than yourself, and I think that's a very big thing. So even learning a new skill is something that, because when you get yourself out of your comfort zone and then you're able to actually do it. For example, now, right, what I can think of when I look at myself is that I've never been very good at tech stuff, and I'm not tech savvy at all right, but today I have no choice, but I have to do a lot of things online and everything. And once I'm able to do one skill, master it, I feel good about myself. I really do. I feel like I've achieved something. And it's good to feel that way. It's good for your self-esteem to feel that, wow, this is also something I was able to master and I never thought I would be able to, right? So that is a good feeling when you are able to feel self-esteem for yourself. We're not talking about narcissism. This is just promoting yourself, to give yourself the conviction and resilience that you have those traits that can be nurtured in you. Then you know, yeah, I can do this. If I put my mind to it, definitely I can do it, right? So that's good feelings. Those are good things to cultivate in yourself. And this is taking credit where you've done well. Take credit. If someone tells you, oh, you're looking beautiful today, accept it. You do not say things like, no, I'm just wearing whatever it is, or be gracious when you are complimented and be able to take it in your stride. That is an indication that you feel good about yourself. That is not, it is our Asian culture which makes us feel that, oh, we cannot take compliments with grace, right? We always have to say, no lah, no, this is not that. No, I've now looked at all these things differently. And when someone compliments me, I am able to take that and say, thank you, and feel good about it. And if you feel that you want to return it, you return it, but don't feel guilty about saying thank you and feeling good about it. That is something that is very Asian. I'm not sure why that has come about, but anyway, I think that it's an indication of something that's not quite right. We should be able to be gracious about things like this and accept them and feel good about them. Okay, and the last thing that he talks about, and that I totally agree with, is the secret to living is in giving, right? You give back. Whatever it is, right, you have to feel that you're giving back, that you are, whatever you're doing is greater than you, and you want to give back to society. Because when you do that, you feel good about yourself. You will start loving yourself for being that person. And that is a great feeling. Okay? So truly believe that you are here for a reason, and that you have discovered that reason, and that you are living that reason. You embody that, and when you embody that, there can be nothing greater than that. Yes, Vimla says we do avoid by saying else. Yes, we don't want to acknowledge that, right? Yes. Hi, Nanu. Hi. Thank you for coming on. Yes, Vimla says that. Okay, any other issues? I think I've covered most of the things that we can do. The most important thing I want to tell you, as I said, is please practice this. It does not come naturally, okay? When we talk about discovering our purpose and all that, these are things that you have to be proactive about. You are the one who has to do the meditation and discover all these things about yourself, and then make the effort to actually sit down and do it, okay? So please, please, please practice. Practice makes perfect, as they say, and I totally agree with that here. Hi, Fat. Thank you for watching. How have you been? Haven't been able to talk to you a lot these last few days. been quite busy myself. I hope all things are okay in Australia. Fatia is my childhood friend from Australia, and we connect a lot, so thanks for being here. All right, any other points that anybody wants to bring up? Any questions? Let's ask them while we're here. So Fat, today we were talking about how to fall madly in love with yourself. And Fat is one person who loves herself a lot, and I really admire her for that. Glad that everything is okay, Fat. Okay, any questions, ladies, men, not just ladies, all the men here as well. I'm open to questions. Let's engage. Thank you everyone. I think that I am so pleased that we're doing so well. On Sunday, I have not quite decided what we are going to be talking about, but next week I am possibly either we're going to talk about another definition of abundance that is being that I found very interesting by a guy called Ken Honda. I don't know whether you all have heard of him, but he has done quite a few courses with Mind Valley, but he's got a beautiful way of looking at abundance, and I thought that this was something that I wanted to highlight. That's one of the topics. And there's also one more thing, that a practice that I wanted to share with you all, which has helped me a lot. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you know, I thought it would be nice if we just do that one of the days as well. Anyway, like I said, I haven't quite decided. So when I do decide, I will let you all know. And today, all the stuff that I talked about, Louise Hay's affirmations, I will be posting out tomorrow in my Facebook page, so look out for it. And if you do it, let me know as well, okay? I want to be able to support you in any way I can, and it'll be great if you test out some of this stuff and then get back to me as to how it's working for you and how I can help you and support you. Vimla says, oh hi Sheila, hi, finally you made it to one of my sessions. That's so nice. Thank you. Vimla, I try very much to be positive, saying, and not to think about negative, but it keeps coming up, especially fear. Okay, so that is of course what happens when you start on this journey. In the beginning, yes, it will keep coming up and you have to keep changing it. But this is where the work comes in, Vimla. Okay, I can't tell you that it's going to take 1 day, 2 days. It really depends on how deep you are in that cycle. Okay, if there's fear, there must be things that you can say to yourself. These are the affirmations that you must be able to say to yourself to negate that. So talk to me about this, okay, because we can discuss it, and then I'll be able to help you put the new affirmations in, so that anytime you start feeling that fear, that new affirmation must be at the back of it, and you must be able to change it straight away. Okay, this is how we coach. When we coach, that's how we deal with people, all right? We actually will look at all these phrases and see which ones are really, and how can we change them? How can we actually change that around 180 degrees at that time? So you must be consciously having that in your head. If this comes, this is what I'm going to say. If this comes, this is what I'm going to say. So do give me a call. I already told you discovery calls are good for this kind of thing. This is where I can work with you and I can help you to do your BOPAs. You know, remember I was talking about BOPAs, Book of Positive Aspects. This actually looks at this, right? Whenever there is a negative thought, how do you counter it with a positive thought? What is the positive thought you can use to counter it? So give me a call, okay? And then we will sit down and come up with a few of these affirmations, which then you will put around you everywhere, in your kitchen, you know, in your bedroom, so that every time that thought comes up, you are going to change it straight away. So it's very, very important that you understand how to actually use these tools and techniques to help you. And until you call me and maybe we talk about it, it's difficult for me to give it to you in this session, right? So give me a shout. I'll try and help you. Okay. Rajvin, hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming on. Okay, anything else? Anybody? Any more comments? If not, I think I've taken up enough time already. We've gone over as usual. Sorry about that. But really lovely for all of you to be here. Thanks. And hopefully we will be I'll be seeing you on Sunday again. That's our next show with the snippets. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you on Sunday for another short session. All right, any other comments that you have, please please do contact me directly on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, or on my YouTube channel. All right, okay guys, lovely to meet you here on Wednesday. Now you can go and do your stuff and have a beautiful rest of today, and I'll see you on Sunday. Take care, God bless, love you, bye.